Hello, my name is Jen Johnson. My pronouns are she and hers, and I'm the Director of Orientation, Transition, and Retention. Welcome to today's orientation webinar. As the Orientation Office, we prepare new students and families for the upcoming transition to AU through the coordination of intentional programming. We strive to help every new student connect, belong, and grow within our community. We welcome members of our community to bring their full selves to AU. We value human dignity and commit to being empathetic, inclusive, just, and respectful. Our goal is to welcome new Eagles to our community, where individuals of all identities and experiences are understood, appreciated, and fully included. We will be recording this session and posting it to our YouTube channel with captions within 24 to 48 hours after this session concludes. You may use the question box feature to ask presenters questions that may be answered live during this session and will be recorded for follow-up as needed. I am very excited to turn things over to my team to get things kicked off.
Hi everyone, welcome to our webinar today, Tips and Tricks for a Successful Summer and Fall Semester at AU. We're so excited to be with you for the next 45 minutes or so, and we hope that you get all of your questions answered and enjoy this time with us. My name is Rebecca Nagel, and I am the Assistant Director of Orientation and Transition Programs here at AU. I've been at AU since January, so like all of you, this is my first summer and going to be my first real fall here. And so I am very excited to be on this journey with you all this summer as you're preparing students and families to start your first year at American. In our session today, we're going to be talking to you about some highlights of our orientation program. So what are some tips and tricks for a successful transition to college? We're also going to talk with you all about the importance of orientation. I know that it is a busy summer with lots of information, and we're here to help make this less overwhelming and an exciting opportunity. We're also going to talk with you about how to get connected at AU this fall. I know that is on a lot of folks' mind about what is involvement going to look like, and so we're excited to talk with you all about what to expect. We'll also share some important resources and make sure that there are time for questions. This is going to be a great opportunity for you to chat with us about what is most on your mind. So as we dive into our presentation today, I am excited to introduce the rest of my colleagues. So Jen, if you want to share a little bit about yourself, and the rest of our team will do the same.
Great. Again, I know a lot of you have met me, Jen Johnson, Director of Orientation, but you probably don't know too much about me. I have just celebrated my 4-year anniversary at AU serving as the Director of Orientation. So I've been at AU for that long, but I've spent my whole career working in first year student experience, new student experience, and orientation. This is actually my 18th summer working in orientation, going back to when I was a first year student. So I'd like to say I'm pretty expert in the field of orientation, transition, and retention. I'm originally from Long Island, as you might hear, but I've lived in Texas, Alabama, Connecticut, and now Virginia for the last 8 years. So that's a little bit about me.
Hi,
Jeff,
guys.
do you want to jump in? There you go.
Absolutely. Hi, guys. My name's Jeff Harris. I am the Coordinator of Orientation, Logistics, and Operations. I've been with the office since February of this year, so this is my first time in orientation, but I previously have worked for the university in housing and residence life. So a lot of times, if you guys email or call, you'll be talking to me, and I handle a lot of customer service issues or questions for the office.
Hello, everyone. My name is Ana Reyes. I am the Graduate Program Assistant for the Office of Orientation, Transition, and Retention, and I've been working in this beautiful office since August last year. This is going to be my first summer, but I'm also graduating AU, so I'll be just like getting things ready for all of you. And I really hope that you all enjoy everything that we're planning for your welcome and for your program, your start here at AU. I'm also an international student. I'm originally from Guatemala, and before starting my graduate studies here at AU, I attended the University of Wisconsin-Superior, and I lived there for 4 years, working also in student affairs in the Office of Student Involvement and as a programming coordinator for events and for our students.
My name is Sarah Ricker. My pronouns are she, her, and hers. I'm the orientation chair of communications and programming. So I'm actually an undergrad student at AU, majoring in journalism and minoring in marketing. I was an orientation leader last year, so this is my second year in the office. And on campus, I'm involved with a lot of different things. I do photography for student media. I worked on Eagle-thon, which is like a dance marathon to raise money for Children's Miracle Network. And I've also lived off campus for a couple years now and had off-campus jobs and internships as well. So yeah, Edie.
Hi, everyone. My name's Adit. My pronouns are he, him, his. I'm the orientation chair for operations and technology. I'm from Basking Ridge, New Jersey. I'm currently an undergraduate like Sarah. I'm a rising junior. I'm majoring in communications, law, economics, and government within the School of Public Affairs. Some of the things that I've been involved with on campus, I've been a student ambassador. I was a part of student government this past year, part of the Kennedy Political Union. And like Sarah, I was an orientation leader last year as well. And this is my second year in the office serving as an orientation chair. So yeah, I'm gonna hand it off to Rebecca.
Great, thanks, Adit. And so we have a wonderful orientation leader team. We've got a great photo here of one of our Zoom trainings. So Sarah and Adit, if you want to introduce our student leadership team, tell everyone what that team's about.
Yeah, sure. I also just wanted to say I've moved back to DC this week and there's a lot of construction going on outside. So if you hear any rumbling, I'm so sorry about that. So yes, our orientation team, I took this photo, one of our first Zoom trainings, and after moving back home. And yeah, we have a group of 19 orientation leaders, including Adit and I. And the students sign up to be an orientation leader, I think, for a lot of like similar reasons that unite them. And that is just to help students through their transition, whether it's because they had an OL that mentored them through that transition, or they personally had a tough time and they want to be there for somebody else and to help them through what they learned in their past years. So that experience really brings us all together, and we often go back to that why and remind ourselves why we're here and why we signed up for this job, and you know how it feels to be helping students through that through their progress as a first year student.
Yeah, like Sarah was saying, yeah, that's a major reason why like we become OLs. When I came to campus, two of my mentors were both orientation leaders, and so I decided to apply, and I never regretted it since. I love the community, bringing that same sense of community back to like my orientees these past 2 years. And yeah, that's what drives me, and what drives our team to continue doing the amazing work for incoming first year students.
And I have to say, working with these student leaders definitely keeps me in the work that I do. So as I mentioned, this is my 18th summer working professionally and as an undergraduate in orientation. At my undergrad, I was the only person that I knew that was going there. It was about an hour and a half from home. I had gone to a private all women's high school, and so I had worn a uniform for 12 years, and I was so nervous about orientation and what it was going to mean to wear regular clothes and be in a co-ed environment and be an hour and a half from home. I was the oldest of two. I have a younger sister. Both my parents went to college, but they did commute from home. So I was the first getting that drop off at college experience. But I loved my orientation experience. I felt so comfortable and knew I had an opportunity to sign up to find out about when the process would happen. That I wanted to do that. So I was able to serve at my undergrad as an orientation leader all 3 years. and in leadership roles as well. And then switched gears from, I did earn a degree in broadcast journalism and theater, but I switched gears and got my master's in higher education and student affairs. And again, have been in this field working in orientation and first year and new student programs for my entire career. So it's been really wonderful to still be as excited about this work, even in a virtual environment. You know, it's really exciting to test everything that I've done over the past 18 years and how we can continue to do wonderful work, and being fortunate to be around a great team. So I'd love for some of my other pro team to talk about why they're in this field.
Great, I'm happy to jump in. So I have been working in orientation for the last 3 years professionally. But like Jen, I was also a student orientation leader. I went to college about 6 hours from home. I only knew one other person from my high school. And I also went to an all-girls high school. And so I had the same kind of experience of how exciting to get to pick out my own outfit today and just really get to meet new people. I loved orientation. For me, the energy that the orientation leaders brought and the care that they showed towards us incoming students really is what made me feel connected to the campus. I started as an orientation leader in college for 2 years, and then decided when I was trying to figure out what to do with my life, I was a French major and was really searching for what my passion would be. And I realized that all the professional staff that I had worked with as a student leader in college all had a job in working in college, that was what they went to work and did every day. And so I realized, well, I want to do that. I want to be in college forever and have that job and get to work with students. So I did pursue a master's degree in higher education with an emphasis in student affairs. And really what keeps me coming to work every day is knowing how of an exciting time starting college is. There are highs and lows. In this summer, it is a roller coaster ride, and that continues through the first year and beyond. And so for me, getting to be that kind of like that guardrail or that just support for the incoming students is what is exciting. And every year it is something different and it is new. And so I truly love the work that I do. And I'm really excited to be here at AU to bring that passion. Jeff, do you want to share a little bit about your journey here?
Yes. So I've been working in higher education for on and off for like 5 or 6 years now. I previously worked in admissions at Catholic University, and I also worked in housing, the Housing and Residence Life Office here on campus. And I love helping the students, but I also love being behind the scenes working on things as well. So I really thought that orientation would be a great fit for myself when the opportunity arose. I was really excited to not really leave Anderson, which is where I was really comfortable working for a while with the students. And it's just nice to have this part of the first year experience with the students. I normally worked with the parents over the summer after they're admitted, and usually during their first year, and also upperclassmen as well, being that I worked in housing. But it was even more special being like in the first year residence hall in the housing office and having those relationships and developing those relationships with the students. So now I'm doing it in another capacity, just behind the scenes, because they like to come to my desk a lot back when I worked in housing. So now they can't find me, but I'm still available to help. So that's how I got to orientation.
My journey for to orientation was a little bit of a interesting path. I got involved in what's education before moving to the U.S. Before moving to pursue my higher education degree, I graduated as an elementary school teacher. And once I got here and I decided to enroll as an undergrad pursuing a communications degree, when I was in school, I started looking for options of okay, like what can I do? How can I start getting experience in the workforce and things like that? And I saw an opening at the Office of Student Involvement in my undergrad school. And getting involved on campus is a great tool first to like learn a little bit more about the campus environment and how you contribute to the community and how can you start like building networking opportunities inside the your campus community, but also it just gives you, with me at least, I always felt really involved. I started meeting people, I started meeting, getting a little bit more connected with professors, staff, and like you are able to see all the background of like how operations go at a university. And once I graduated and I decided to start here my master's program in strategic communication at AU, I decided to go in and like look for options where I can use the tools and all the skills that I learned, and put them into practice. So that's how I got here into orientation. And I feel like that journey in the education environment has just come along with me throughout my whole journey here pursuing higher education. Because since I graduated, okay, I've worked with elementary school kids, now like working as a teaching assistant and working in the orientation office as a graduate assistant for different programs, it just like comes together, and it also like connects you a little bit more to that community that your educational institution has.
Great, thank you everyone for sharing. Yeah, and we are very mission oriented and goal oriented. So our office, we report through the Office of Campus Life, and through Dr. Fonta, who I know many of you have met with. She's my direct supervisor, and she's very involved and engaged in the work that we're doing. We also, within higher education, we have professional associations. So we are part of NOTA, which used to be an acronym for National Orientation Directors Association, but now we are the Association for Orientation, Transition, and Retention. And so through our work, we are constantly connected with colleagues across the country and around the world. Especially, I know in mid-March, a lot of us had conversations with our colleagues as well. But as orientation as a field, there is, again, mission of our work that the college transition, we want to integrate folks into our community and make sure that we are weaving intentional programming like we would in person, just like we are virtually, across the period of orientation, while also creating leadership development opportunities for our student orientation team. And so we want to make sure that people are recognizing transition issues that we know are going to happen because it is part of a transition in life experience, identify resources, understand university policies, procedures, and different parts of the business of working with university, and have an opportunity to define and discuss AU's values and where you fit as part of our community. So those are some of our things that we're accomplishing, and we're still continuing to do because we're about halfway into our orientation program. But I'm going to turn things over back to Rebecca to share about our program and remind some folks all the different offerings we have.
Great, thank you, Jen. So I hope that you've seen that we have a lot of passion and heart behind our work, and I hope that you have felt that thus far in our orientation program. So as we've said, this is a busy summer, lots of lists, lots of things to remember, and so we really hope that you make the most of your summer. That's one of our major tips that we can offer, is really take advantage of all the resources not only offered by our office, but by other partners across campus, because getting connected and utilizing the summer to prepare is really important. So I'd like to provide here a recap of some of the orientation offerings. It's not too late if this is the first webinar that you're tuning in for. We are excited to have you. And it is certainly a great time to get involved with the summer. So one of the first components of our orientation offerings this summer are our small group meetings led by our orientation leaders. So as Sarah and Adit have talked about, we have a staff of 19 student leaders who have been meeting in small groups with their orientees, the incoming first year students. The meetings have been on a variety of topics about campus resources and really just getting the students connected with one another. It's really important as you transition to make one friend maybe in a small group meeting, so you have that, I know someone starting in the fall can provide that comfort for you in this transition. So we've got more small group meetings coming up throughout the month of July, and they again will be on different topics, different activities happening in those, but really great ways to get connected. We're also offering orientation webinars. like the one that you're in right now. They are live and then will be offered, they'll be recorded and you'll be able to access those on our YouTube channel. The webinars are representations from all different campus partners talking about what each office does, how you can get involved, and then some of those checklist items. If you've missed some or you have questions for those presenters, definitely check out the YouTube channel. All the webinars that have happened the first half of the summer are posted there, as well as the information for how to get in contact with those offices. So if you have a question for AU Central regarding billing and payment plans, definitely check out that webinar, find their contact information there and reach out. They are excited to work with you. That's just one example. So we have many more webinars to come in the next few weeks as well. We also have our online orientation modules. The link is found on our website, which is american.edu/ocl/orientation. And that can be found at the bottom of our slides here for your reference. So the online orientation, there are 5 sections: academic resources, support services, life at AU, financing your education, and policies and safety. And so each of these modules will provide information on that topic, how to get connected with resources within that bucket of information. And so anybody can go through this. This is for first-year students, transfer students, graduate students, our families, guests. Anybody is welcome to go through the modules. We really encourage everyone to participate in this. This is a great resource for you to go back to as well. So once you watch a module, you can feel free to return to that, go through it, take some notes, and again, reach out to our team. Again, our email's on the bottom of our slides. If you have questions about how to access that, or just you need some extra information on a slide or a module, we're happy to help. But we really encourage everybody to go through that. It's a great standing resource. We also have many other opportunities for engagement across campus. Everybody at AU is so eager to welcome the incoming class. We are so excited for you to start in just a few weeks. The countdown is on. And so we've been doing different things throughout the summer and across campus to help students get connected. Our office has sponsored some game nights for the students. So students on this webinar, if you have not joined in, we'll have some more to come. Definitely check it out. You can follow us on Instagram and Facebook to find those links, but those have been really popular and really just a great place to hang out on Zoom, get to meet some people. Through AU Forward, that is our reopening plan, there have been various webinars and other information sessions to provide information on health and safety guidelines and different parts of the opening for fall. The Office of Alumni Engagement has also been sponsoring different regional and affinity and school welcomes with alumni. And again, that website that we've mentioned, american.edu/orientation, that's going to be your main launching point to find all of these links. So the full schedule for the alumni events, as well as how to register, can be found there. We'll also be doing some panels this summer. We've had some family open forum sessions. We'll have some facilitated dialogue sessions upcoming to get the students just talking with each other about current issues and the transition to college. And so all of these opportunities are really great to help you get connected not only to the campus, but to other incoming students. So we are really excited about the offerings, and we hope that you're taking advantage of those. Like I said, definitely continue to dive in because we still got a lot of summer left, even though opening is right around the corner. So definitely take advantage of the programs we have offered.
Guys, the new student checklist is available for all of your students with important information that's going to keep you up to date with where you should be at this point. It has a lot of important resources and information from different departments on campus that's going to get you guys ready to come to campus. And also the uploading your student ID, that deadline is coming up. That's going to be July 31st by 11:59 p.m. There's also a lot of information on the orientation website for you guys to keep you up to date with upcoming webinars and sessions that we have. Also links to our orientation YouTube channel if you've missed any of our webinars. All of those are recorded, and we usually try to upload them 24 to 48 hours after each session. You guys can get connected to various groups on Facebook. There's an amazing AU Parents group page where a lot of parents get connected. There's also resources for your students on Facebook to get connected. I know it's going to be tough with everything that's happening, but virtually it's a really good opportunity for your students to connect with each other who are all coming to campus this fall. So don't forget, AU Parents, you can also email us at orientation@american.edu if you guys need any help with any of these resources.
Great, thanks, Jeff. So for our transfer students who are on this call, we are offering unique programming through the orientation program. So there's some overlap with our first year student program in terms of some of the webinars. And so those you can find on the YouTube channel, but we're also offering some really specific transfer student programs and transfer student webinars. And so those begin next week. So definitely check out our website so that you can register for those sessions. My biggest tip for our transfers on this webinar is to connect with your advisor if you haven't already done so. So once you pay your enrollment deposit, about 2 weeks later, you should hear from your academic advisor. They're going to be your best resource to help get your schedule, make sure that your course credits have transferred appropriately, and really get you set up, make sure that you hit all of those items. There's also a transfer student checklist that you can find on the new students website, and we'll put that link in the chat as well for you to reference. And I think it's on a later slide. So definitely check out the new student checklist for transfer students, connect with your advisor because they're going to be your best resource. We're also going to be doing some small group sessions with orientation leaders and transfer students. So be sure if you haven't registered for the orientation program that you do so that you can get placed into a small group. Again, for our transfer students, you'll be paired with orientation leaders in small groups for you to do similar things to the first year students, but different types of conversations, recognizing that your transfer experience looks a little bit different than our first year student experience. And so we really want you to get connected with other transfer students so that you too have a smooth transition to starting at AU. We'll also be offering some fall semester programming, again, to help you get connected with resources and with your peers. This is in the works as we are looking at some of the virtual programming opportunities. So definitely stay tuned and we will communicate as we have things finalized and events, and we'll get all that information out to you. But again, for our transfer students, definitely join in throughout this summer as you are getting ready to start at AU.
One of the most popular questions that we've got throughout the different meetings and like Zoom calls that we have with parents and students is like, what's going to happen in fall welcome? How can students start getting involved on campus, and what's going to happen with that welcome that in previous years has been a little bit more personal? Well, we're working on making sure that our incoming class and returning students get a welcome experience as comprehensive and as exciting as we can make it. And this year is going to be a little bit different. As you know, we've had we have set guidelines to follow to make sure to continue with to ensure the health of our students and to make sure that everyone's safe. And a lot of the programming that in previous years has happened in person, we're working with partners to make those events and services available online. There's going to be limited programming, and all this would happen under the umbrella of All American Welcome. All American Welcome is our welcome weeks of full of events for our returning and incoming students. It's an event that it's organized and overseen by us, and also in collaboration with over 30 partners around the university. Each partner is organizing events for their students, and there's like different topics and themes and information that's going to be provided by them. We're making sure that we can provide students with as much information and entertainment as possible, and to ensure an incredible welcoming experience. It will begin with move-in on the Sunday of August 16th, and it will run through the following 2 Sundays after, ending on August 30th. You're going to be hearing a little bit more details about All-American Welcome from our orientation leaders, also through our social media and email communication as well. And one change that we've had from in comparison to the information that you got when you registered to orientation is that on August 20th, we were originally planning to hold in-person orientation sessions, but that has been changing with the incoming information that we've had and the response that we've had for the university to COVID. So the in-person sessions that we're planning for August 20th on orientation events, those are not going to be happening, but there's going to be a lot of more programming for our students, and these changes have been made to accommodate the move-in experience for students to campus. So also, if you have more questions about this, please reach out to us at the orientation@american.edu email, and you'll also get more details through our social media. We're going to keep you posted, and we're going to make sure that we can answer all the questions that you have.
Yep. So as we stated in the beginning, one of our main responsibilities as an office is helping build community on campus. So there's a variety of resources our incoming first-year students can use when trying to find that community. So we have the Engage platform and the Cork app. So the Engage platform is where students can find all the different clubs and organizations that AU has to offer. And the Cork app is usually what different organizations use to register students for different events. I know last semester when I was working with the Kennedy Political Union, we used the Cork app to see how many students attended every event, and students use it to get into various events as well. Then we also have the Center for Student Involvement. So they're the main place on campus that oversees student orgs, student clubs, student government. So they're a great resource as well. They help guide first-year students to those different opportunities throughout their first year on campus. Then we have our first-year advisors. So as a first-year student, you take AU Experience 1 and AU Experience 2. So they're 2 fundamental first-year classes. And you have a first-year advisor that helps teach that class. So they're very helpful in helping first-year students register for those different courses that they take throughout their first year, but also in that transition as well. Then we have our Residence Hall Association. So they help oversee our different residence halls, and they put together different events for our students across campus. So yeah, they hold various events throughout the year. We held a Christmas event. We also held events during Thanksgiving and throughout the spring as well. So they're definitely there to help build that community on campus. And then we have resident assistants as well. So each floor does have a resident assistant that designates that their primary responsibility is to help community on the floor. And basically, they're a great resource for first-year students as well, because that transition to living on campus and being more independent can be definitely challenging. So the resident assistant is a great resource for all our first-year students to have.
Yes, thank you, Adit. We all know that due to COVID-19, there's going to be a lot of different modalities on campus when it comes to how many students can be in one area, and a lot of questions about like, how will I get involved if it's unsure how student clubs will be meeting. But we know the sense of community on AU's campus is still going to exist in the same way, just with these different modalities. Students are still very eager to get connected. I can tell you that from from an orientation leader perspective, that all these incoming students are so excited to get started and to get involved with everything that Adit just mentioned. Some specific, areas that students find community, they are listed here on the slide. The Bridge and the DAV are 2 student-run coffee shops on campus. They will be open, they will be serving, they will just have limited seating and lower capacities in those spaces. But I study there almost every single day. I have a coffee there every single day. Probably should work on not doing that as often. But community lounge spaces in the residence halls will still be open. They will, I'm sure, will have lots of noisy interaction, students getting to know each other, of course, just with fewer than usual. And the Barry Graydon Center, I would say, is the hub for student involvement. It's where most of the food options on campus are. It's where I text someone to meet up with when we're off anywhere else. It's really the place to go, really, for student involvement. And lastly, the quad. The quad is outside. The quad is a beautiful, beautiful place to just hang out and see campus in its full capacity, see students going to class, see professors walking around, people walking their dogs. It's really, honestly, it's where I go when I want to take a break, and I will continue to do that, whether, I'm I'm masked and safe, but, still looking for a sense of community as well.
So your feedback is always welcome in the orientation, transition, and retention team. You can do that a number of ways. So after every webinar, there are surveys that you can fill out and let us know how we're doing, any things that you think that we can improve on, or even just to say, hey, thanks for doing such a great job. We like those as well. We also just sent out midsummer evaluations. Those went out last week. So if you haven't filled those out, please get those in so we can kind of tweak things or make some improvements that you guys might want for the remainder of the summer. We also send out end of summer evaluations. So when those come out, send those out. Maybe, it's over, but we can improve on some things for next year. And then also you can always email the orientation office. Once again, I get a lot of those emails. So if you just want to send us like, hey, the OLs do a great job, I will make sure they get those, I promise. We love reading those among everything else. So you can always send those to orientation@american.edu.
So Adit and I wanted to take this time to share with you some of our best quick tips. So Adit, do you want to take it away with our first quick tip?
Yeah, so a must-bring item or an item that you didn't know you would need. So my answer to that would definitely be a passion planner. Sarah actually encouraged me to get a passion planner like at the very beginning of this year. And I was like, yeah, why not, because I'm one of those people that loves like writing stuff down. Like that's the way I remember things. Like typing doesn't work for me. It's like I always have to write things down. So I bought a passion planner. They're really not that expensive. They're like $20, $25 around there. So they're basically just like interactive planner where you can like list stuff down for like what you have to do. Like you can make to-do lists. They're very interactive and you can like set goals for yourself, what you want to get done by the end of this week, what you want to get done by the end of the month, and what you want to get done by like the end of the year. So it's like a great way to frame different things. And know what you have to get done and when. It's great at prioritizing different tasks that you need. So yeah, love that I got one, and I'm definitely using it even now with like everything that's going on. So yeah, I'll hand it over to Sarah.
Yeah, me as well. My passion planner, stays by my side every day, and it was actually Anna that recommended it to me. So it's really just going through our office. But my must-bring item is actually I use the brand Downy wrinkle releaser instead of bringing an iron to campus because, I don't do a lot of ironing like day to day, but I didn't know what I was going to do once I got to college. My mom got me this wrinkle releaser, and every time I didn't fold my laundry right after it came out of the dryer and everything got wrinkly, it was really easy in the residence hall just to spray the wrinkle release and shake it out and get all those wrinkles out of my clothes. And I still use that right now, even in my apartment where I have plenty of room for an iron. So what is your best study spot, Adit?
Yeah, so I would say definitely I'm in between third floor of the library or SIS, which is School of International Service. Both are amazing study spots. Yeah, I usually go to like the third floor of the lib when like I need to stay focused, but like doing group projects and stuff, like I usually go to like SIS, So both are amazing study spots, but yeah, those are the two places that I kind of go to study.
Yeah, oh my gosh, I go there as well. But my first year, I think the big study spot for me was the third floor of the School of Communications. I don't know what it is about the third floor of places, but it's usually the quietest because you don't want to walk up the stairs. So on the third floor of the School of Communications, there is an indoor study area, which is usually pretty quiet because it's right outside professors' offices and people don't want to be too loud. But there's also a really great outdoor space, like almost like a rooftop courtyard. And when it's nice out, that's a really great area to study outside, but not in the middle of everything going on the quad. And there's outlets, Wi-Fi range very close by. So that was a big hit for me. Adit, what is your favorite eatery on or off campus?
Yeah, so I would definitely have to go with Satay Club in Tenleytown. They do take Eagle Bucks, so that's fun. So they're basically a sushi restaurant in Tenley. It's really not that far away from campus. It's like about 5 to 10 minutes with the Wonk bus. So yeah, love going there. Their scallion pancakes are amazing. Their desserts are also really good. So yeah, that's my recommendation.
My favorite eatery, I don't really know if this could be considered an eatery, but gives out food, so I call it an eatery. Every Wednesday, actually, on the quad, there is a farmer's market that comes to campus and sells produce and baked goods and like little ready-to-go recipe jars, and they also take Eagle Bucks. So that is a great way for me just to get like quick grocery shopping things done on campus, and try not to eat it all by the end of the day. That's like the goal, really. But yeah, they come almost every Wednesday, and people walking on the quad will always stop by and pick something up. Adit, what is your most frequently used app, DC app?
Yeah, so I would definitely have to go with the Rider app. So it's an app that a lot of AU students use. So basically, it shows you where all the buses are at all times that take students from AU to Tenleytown and then to like Spring Valley. So you can use the app to see like where the buses are at all times and when like the next bus is coming. Yeah, so I think it's a great way to like if you ever need to get to Tenleytown, like you can just pull up the app and you can see when the next bus is coming at which stop. So yeah.
Yeah, and they're usually 15 minutes apart, if I remember that right. Yeah, so they come pretty often. My most used app is an off-campus bus app, so like the Metro bus in DC. Living off campus, I trying to catch the bus on the go on the way to campus, not be late to class. I am always checking the Metro and bus app. So that has both the Metro trains and the buses. And along with that, every time I do end up going into Tenleytown to hop on the red line on the Metro, I have a screenshot of like the train map of the DC map. In my first semester at AU, I actually set that photo as my lock screen. For people who want to do that, it's a really good choice, like just to not have to flip through your phone if you're like in a pinch trying to figure out which side of the platform you want to be on. I always just like pulled it up real quick on my lock screen. Didn't even have to open my phone. Just an idea for anybody planning on traveling around the city. Adit, what is your favorite place to visit in DC?
Yeah, so the National Mall is a classic, but I'd definitely have to go with the Georgetown waterfront. It's extremely beautiful. It's a great, like the summertime, springtime, it's like amazing then. There's a lot of different places to eat near there. I know me and my friends go to this falafel place, which is not that far away from the Georgetown waterfront, but we go to like the falafel place. It's really, really cheap. Great for college students. And then we like go like walk around the Georgetown waterfront. Great for aesthetic pictures too, definitely. But yeah, love the Georgetown waterfront.
Yes, me too. Every time I go to the movies, I go to Georgetown to the Fancy Theater just because I want to be in that area so I can hang out afterwards. But my favorite spot is actually the Bishop's Garden at the National Cathedral. I happen to live in the area, so it's like my backyard. I go there for any like breath of fresh air or any break outside that I need. It's completely like hidden away from the streets nearby. It doesn't even feel like I'm in the city. And there's always like families and little kids like laughing and rolling around in the grass, especially now. So it's my getaway for sure. And it's only about a 15 to 20-minute walk from campus. So definitely highly recommend the cathedral around there. Yeah. I'm gonna pass it on over to Jen, and thank you guys for listening to our quick tips.
No, I definitely enjoyed hearing your perspectives as well. So I have a passion planner also. So Pash Fam, if you want to look it up on social media, we're a little group. But tying things up, I know we don't have a webinar right behind us, and I know we're answering some questions in real time, but we are happy to stay on until 3 o'clock and keep this recording. But a few things, I know we've mentioned a lot of links. We've put a number of them in the chat box. But really, orientation, american.edu/orientation is our landing page. So if you're a first-year student, a transfer student, a parent or family member, you want to know about online orientation, which are the modules. About 50% of our students have started with the online orientation modules. So about 900 students, but only I think 43 parents and family members. So you are able to log in as a guest, and we encourage you to look at those as well. So we'll have that information as well as All American Welcome information, and we're reconfirming. We had the schedule set by spring break, and then of course everything changed. So we are reconfirming events now with all of our guidelines, and we'll be starting marketing those beginning August the 3rd. So you'll see that All American Welcome on our website as well. Housing and Residence Life, I know there's a lot of housing questions that have come in. Going right to the source, we can share the little bits that we know, but they're the great folks to ask those questions. There is a webinar at 5 o'clock today that, again, the link was shared out if you want to participate. Parent and family engagement, so family members, really great website. They have a resources tab that sort of breaks things down by themed questions and taking you right to that AU website. So it's a brand new page. Definitely check it out. I'm a fan of it already. We've mentioned the Center for Student Involvement, so that's where you can find out about the Engage platform as well as the Quark app, as well as all the other student events that are happening. There will be a student organization fair. Will happen virtually, but that will happen, which again is a signature event that always kicks off the semester. So the team in CSI, we like our acronym, Center for Student Involvement, are working really hard on that right now. So as it's now July and our returning students are thinking about the fall semester as it moves closer and closer. AU Forward, we've mentioned that's our return to campus plan. More information there. There's a really great FAQ. If you have not checked out the FAQ, I recommend going there as well, and that gets updated very frequently. We also share questions that come up often. Finally, the Student Health Center. I know there was a lot of interest in that about COVID testing, about student health insurance waivers. So going straight to the Student Health Center is a great place for you all to go. So we want to, again, leave our email there on our website, but there are some questions, and I'm going to switch looking at my screen so I can get to all the questions that have been asked. But maybe, Anna, to get things started, I know folks are really interested in the types of events that are going to be happening in August. So maybe if you can talk about sort of the categories of events that are planning to be held.
Sure. So we have a variety of events. They're going to be academic events, including academic welcomes for all the schools and even convocation as well. We have student groups participating in hosting events. And we also have different campus partners like departments and professors hosting their events, and also offices around the university, the health center, the Center of Student Involvement as well. And there's right now, as Jen mentioned before, we are reconfirming our events. A lot of the events that we had originally planned that were like meet and greets and offices and things like that, partners have decided to migrate their events online to host virtual meet and greets, to host virtual movie nights as well. There's a few events, limited events that are going to happen in person on campus, but what I can definitely tell you is to have a more comprehensive schedule and an overview of all the events that are going to be part of All American Welcome. Check our social media. As Jen mentioned also before, we're going to release our initial calendar on August the 3rd. We're going to promote it on Facebook. We're going to make sure to have handles on our Instagram account as well. And we'll also have the schedule in the All American Welcome site at the American.edu website as well.
Great. There were, again, a lot of really wonderful questions. I know we've been setting up a link. We'll put it out as well, the housing webinar that's at 5 o'clock. I think any of your questions relating to move in, that is great. We meet with those colleagues about every week, but we don't always have all of the latest information. So definitely to check that out. Any advice, Adit and Sarah, regarding when students should purchase their books, especially if they're more interested in having like used textbooks? What would be your perspective?
I know I personally, I wait until I get a syllabus from my professors to start ordering those materials, because sometimes they end up finding an online version that they can share, or there's like handouts that go out instead of getting a full textbook. So rather than go out and purchase all those books right off the bat, which can be great for, you know, someone who wants to have, you know, everything set up and planned. But for me, I just like to take a little bit of time and definitely get my orders in before like the first or second week of classes, because that's when those syllabi start to come out. And there aren't usually any readings during that time. So that's usually my plan. And I do tend to use a lot of websites that are like used books. So I use thriftbooks.com a lot, and sometimes they actually come with like annotations inside. So that's a fun little surprise every once in a while when you open up a book. But yeah, that's my advice there. Adit, do you have anything else to add?
Yeah, I agree with Sarah. I usually wait till my professor sends out a syllabus, and then even like during the first day of classes, they'll talk about like which books you'll use or which books you definitely need, and which books are like just like recommendations or like just good to have. So it's like I would wait until like 2 to 3 weeks before like classes start. That's usually when professors start sending out syllabi to their students, and then they start like telling students which books are necessary and which books are like just like good to have for like just recommendations.
Yeah, and another note on that too. My first year, when I was sort of figuring out, I hadn't declared my major yet. I was taking a lot of like elective courses. So my mom actually recommended to me, she also works at a university, that purchasing books to own for your like soon to be major is something that I decided to do, and then rent books for like outside classes, because I likely won't be referring to them later on. But I'm staring at a stack here of all of my communication books on the floor. So yeah, definitely good to have if you want to look back on those materials.
Yeah, and one last thing to add. Yeah, so you can also find some of the textbooks within the AU bookstore, and you can use your Eagle Books at the AU bookstore. So something that I did during my first year, especially like with a couple of my classes within the School of Public Affairs, I found the textbooks for those classes within the AU bookstore. So I just used my Eagle Bucks to pay for them. So another pro tip.
That also use the library, university library, as a resource. Sometimes professors will put the books that they're using on the course reserve in the library. You can go check them out for a couple hours if they're in the course reserves. If they're not part of that, you can check them for longer and use them outside of the library. In some cases, the books that are in the Kurtz Reserve list at the library, you can go downstairs. There's scanners. You can scan them and have a copy on you all the time, a digital copy on you all the time. But yeah, take a look at that AU library resources, which is great.
Great, thank you for that. Another thing somebody asked about, will speakers and lecturers be happening on campus? And the answer is, I think things are going to be happening with social distancing. So I think it depends on the group. Another space that we haven't talked about yet is our amphitheater. So it is a open space amphitheater that does seat about, gosh, I haven't done an actual. We do our openings there generally for orientation. So about 400 to 500 folks in there comfortably. So again, I know they'll be marking everything off for events, but if you're not already familiar with the term synchronous or asynchronous, I think there'll be some options where there will be synchronous events. So the performer's here or the lecturer's here to take real-time questions from you all, and you're all logged in at the same time. And then there may be asynchronous events where, just like kind of our YouTube channel, there is recordings and opportunities to see things later. So there are always copyright considerations for certain performers. So I know the university is working really closely to make sure, based on contracts and conversations, how information is going to be distributed, whether it's recorded or streamed, shared later, or whatnot. So I know we were in a training on copyright earlier this summer, and I imagine more of that will be coming. But again, lots of questions. I know we've been answering it as we go. The last thing with textbooks I'd mentioned, and it may sound a little weird if you haven't read the description, the auxiliary services at work webinar that was about 2 weeks ago features the manager of the bookstore, and he talks as well about book options, and there were some great questions that came in. So I encourage you to go to the auxiliary services at work webinar from our YouTube channel that was about 2 weeks ago, just to hear about what the manager Brett would say regarding some of those questions. And I know some questions, if you get books from the bookstore and you need to return them, they're going to be sending mailing slips so that as students return home for the end of the semester, that they'll be able to have them shipped back to campus and all of that orchestrated. So we are going to leave things there. Jeff will be on email if you have pressing questions that you want answered, both today and for the rest of the summer. We hope you enjoyed being with our webinar, being with all of us. It was good to see. We have a lot of daily, if not weekly, calls and training. So it was fun to see my colleagues in this setting, because we're usually behind the scenes. But thank you all so much. And one of my goals, and I failed to say this earlier, is, as a result of orientation, I remember I had how many days that I had left at home, and being up at orientation when I was undergraduate is when that calendar switched, and how many days do I have left until I got to go back. And I know many of you were not able to be with us this spring or summer, but I hope that feeling of how many days until you get to step foot on campus and be a part of this new student experience is something that you're all looking forward to, and we are happy to support you as best as we can along the way. So in true Zoom and webinar fashion, we should say our waves and head out of here. All right.